Narcissists don't always look like villains. Sometimes it's your boss, your father, your best friend of 10 years, and by the time you finally see the pattern, the damage is already done. So today I'm giving you 6 practical tools to protect yourself, starting right now. Let's start with something you need to understand. Narcissists test boundaries. Not once, constantly. They push, they watch how you react, and if you fold, even a little, they remember it. That becomes the new rule. So here's the thing. The boundary itself isn't what protects you. The consequence is. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. Say your boss criticizes you in front of the whole team. For months, you've asked him nicely to stop. Nothing changes. But what if instead you said one sentence, "If this happens again, I'm going to HR." That's usually all it takes. The public criticism stops immediately. Not because he suddenly respects you, because you attached a real cost to his behavior, and he believes you'll follow through. That's the difference between a boundary that actually protects you and one that just gets ignored. Here's something most people get wrong. They think if they just explain themselves clearly enough, the narcissist will finally understand and back off. They won't. Over-explaining doesn't build understanding. It hands over energy and it invites an argument you were never going to win. So instead, try short, flat responses. Something like, "We just see this differently." No defense, no debate, no opening. Think about how many times you've defended yourself against the same accusation over and over, and it turned into a 2-hour argument that led nowhere. What if you just stopped? Stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped playing the game entirely. The accusations might not stop right away, but they lose their power because you're no longer feeding them. This next one sounds strange the first time you hear it. Become boring. It's called the gray rock method. You make yourself about as interesting as a rock on the side of the road. Nothing to grab onto, nothing to react to. Keep your interactions short, factual, and emotionally flat. And this part matters most. Stop sharing your insecurities, your fears, your personal life. Anything you hand over can be used against you later. Maybe you've spent years confiding in someone, your fears, your relationship problems, your self-doubt, only to have every piece of it thrown back at you in an argument. So you stop. You keep things civil, factual, surface level. Not because you stop caring, because you stop supplying the ammunition. Narcissists rarely isolate you all at once. It happens slowly. A comment here, a guilt trip there, until one day you look up and realize your friends have drifted away. Isolation is one of their most effective tools because someone who's isolated has nowhere to go and no one to reality check the situation with. So this one's non-negotiable. Maintain your outside relationships, actively, on purpose. Picture years passing where you're slowly cut off from the people who care about you. It doesn't feel sudden, it just feels like life got busy. But if you rebuild those friendships anyway, something changes. When you finally decide to leave, you're not alone. You have people to call. That support network isn't a backup plan. It's what makes leaving possible in the first place. Gaslighting works by making you doubt your own memory. That never happened. You're overreacting. I never said that. And over time, without proof, you start believing them over yourself. That's exactly why you keep a private journal. Dates, exact words, your reactions, what happened before and after. Not for anyone else, for you. Say someone denies something you're certain happened, so you write it down. The date, the words, everything. Weeks later, when they deny it again, you have it. Written in your own handwriting from the day it actually happened. This isn't about proving them wrong, it's about staying anchored to your own reality. Now here's the hardest truth in this video. Some people, and some situations, simply cannot be fixed. Not with better communication, not with clearer boundaries, not with more patience. So ask yourself 3 questions. Does this relationship make you smaller or bigger? Do you still feel like yourself around this person? And has anything actually changed, or just the promise that it will? Maybe you're in a relationship, a friendship, or a business partnership that's drained you for years. Every conversation leaves you smaller. Every promise of change leads nowhere. But when you finally walk away, you don't just lose that relationship. You get your confidence back, your creativity back. Sometimes walking away isn't giving up. It's the only thing that was ever going to work. You cannot change a narcissist. That's not pessimism. It's just the starting point that saves you years of wasted effort. What you can control is their access to your time, your energy, your emotions, and your information. Less access, less power. That's the entire strategy. If this helped you see your own situation a little more clearly, subscribe to DecodePsycho, new videos on dark psychology and human behavior every week. And I want to know, which of these 6 tools is hardest for you to actually apply? If you're curious why they never really let go, watch this next. Why narcissists always come back.